So, right, just let me check. It's live on here. Please let this work. Please let us work. Have I connected it to the right source? No, I don't think I have. Streaming software. Oh, yes, I think I have. I think I've done it right for the first time ever. Just in one go. I think I've done it right. I think I've done it right. I don't think I've done it right. Come on. See, the source changes all the time. It's so annoying. Right, let me just come back in here and see if I can add any more sources. Hive. Beyond the Buy Box, Johnny. Hive. I don't want to set up a new one. It says scheduled. 2 secs. No, it's not connecting. I'm going to have to set up a new one. Shouldn't do this every time. It's so annoying. I know I'm live. I know. And I think I'm live on YouTube. I'm not sure. I don't know if I am. Hang on a sec. Let's just try and add another one. Add a new destination. Add a Facebook page. Let's do the custom. Right, 2 secs. Copy.
Oh yeah, I think we are live on YouTube.
Oh, are we?
I think so.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Sorry, guys. It's this system. Yeah, we are live on YouTube. So, server URL. I don't know if that's that one. Guys, YouTube, you are seeing a live trying to fix the stream. Sweet. Right, let's see if this works. Okay. Let's see if we can turn this on here as well. Save changes. Let's see if this works. I'm not sure if it will. Let's give it a little refresh. If not, we're live on YouTube as it stands.
Okay, cool.
So if you're watching on YouTube, let us know. It looks like there's like one person watching.
That's my mum.
Oh, hi, Mum. Right, I fixed it. I think I fixed it. Okay, so now we shall go live on Facebook as well. So that should come through. And we are now live on Facebook as well. So if you're watching it, hopefully we'll just pretend like the last 3 minutes didn't happen. It's like I said, this new streaming system, I moan about it every time. I've got to stop moaning about it. It is what it is. You've just got to be prepared that we might not be live at like 1 o'clock for now. So I'm just going to wait for some people to come through. Normally they'd all would have flooded in by now. We would have seen them all by now, but we are waiting for everyone to come in. So welcome everyone. Come in and say hello. Drop us a comment. It's great to see everybody. Like I said, it's always that kind of moment of, have I done it right? Haven't I done it right? But here we are, and everyone seems to be coming in, which is good. So I'm just going to come onto here and have a look at the comments and just check we're actually live in the group, which we are. There we go. Phil's joined us. Hooray. Brianna, Jay, Claire, a few more, Omar. So, Cindy, welcome. You
Hi.
are... Yeah, it's great to have you here. Normally you're on the opposite. As
I know. Normally I'm saying, I can see you, I can hear you.
Absolutely. Yeah, do you know what? I knew this was going to go wrong today because you're normally the one that's saying, no, I can hear you. No, I can't hear you. I can't do it. But finally we are here. Well, this is Cindy. And, you know, it's great to have you on here because I have been trying to get you on Beyond the Buy Box. Never mind the Buy Box for a really, really long time. So I know this is out of your comfort zone. So thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. So, you know, we got some fans in the house. Brianna says, I love Cindy. She's the best. Exactly. So it's definitely it's a friendly crowd here for sure. Well, unless no arseholes join, which I can't control that unfortunately either. So there we go. Cindy is the queen. Absolutely 100%. So hello and welcome everyone. It's good to see everyone. Good to be back on this lovely sunny day.
It's so hot. It's so hot. I've got all my windows shut because my hay fever.
Yeah.
I'm sweating.
I know. I literally, I think it was on your post when I said my hay fever is so bad and I don't even have hay fever. That's how bad my hay fever is, because it's like Matt suffers from hay fever. Max suffers with hay fever.
Yeah, I remember Max with his eyes and everything, and it's been so bad. I thought there was no hay fever this year. Like, I didn't have anything up to last week.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, great timing.
It is hay fever. Unfortunately, it is back with a vengeance as well. So I've got to say this. I was just talking to Phil actually before this. I was on a call with Phil, and it does make me laugh because he's one of these that calls out a lot of the the gurus, and his comments make me die. Honestly, they really do. And he tends to refer to these gurus as salads, and it just honestly it makes it so. He just said there's a no salad zone here, so we appreciate that. I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean when you say that. Adaronke's joined us as well, so good. Adaronke said, I'm like you, Cindy. I started feeling mine 2 days ago. So yeah, I know. This is when definitely everybody is getting that in that season. So I mean, as you know, it's good catching up on hay fever and what it is at the moment, but we are here to talk about you, Cindy. So we are here to talk about your Amazon seller journey. We're here, you've done things slightly differently, you're heading in a slightly different direction, and I love these type of interviews every now and again, in the sense that we talk about something that we don't talk about every time. We're not just going to talk about sales, and we're not just going to talk about your own personal sales performance on Amazon or how you got started. We will cover that, obviously. But, I want to dive a little bit deeper in terms of, spoiler alert, Cindy has started an additional income stream, which is based off of the back of the knowledge that she's gained through selling on Amazon. So I want to dive a little bit deeper in terms of how you came across that, and what was the decision to, because you had to, we'll come on to this obviously, but you can't be all things to all people, and when you do make decisions like that, one part of the business doesn't get as much attention, or or whatever. So we'll come on and talk about that, because sometimes it's more important to diversify. So I want to unpick that a little bit and see, if anybody's thinking of doing the same, if this is a plan for someone else, what are the key areas and the key focuses that you looked at. So we'll go through and we'll discuss all of that. But it's good to see everyone. We've got lots of people jumping on. So guys, let's make this as interactive as possible. If you've got any comments, if you've got any comments or questions for Cindy, I know that you're very popular, obviously, in the group. You're within your own group and within the Hive as well, in terms of answering people's questions and things like that. So we'll cover that. So I mean, yes, we've got to talk about the background, obviously, as well. I just love it. It's like you're in Narnia. You're just about to go into Narnia. So you are.
I keep it real. I didn't want to go with a fake background. I am a bedroom bandit. I'm the original bedroom bandit.
There is nothing wrong. I'll tell you what. If anyone told me I'd be having these conversations, that absolutely you can be a 7-figure seller, no doubts about it, and you can literally be a bedroom bandit. Yeah, from the wardrobe. Let's not talk about in the closet, because that's a whole different.
I'm staying in the closet.
Absolutely. That's a whole different conversation. So let's start at the beginning. So tell me how you got started. Obviously you've been in the Amazon space for a little while. So how did you sort of discover Amazon, and what were your thoughts about the Amazon space before entering it?
Yeah, so
and what were you kind of doing before as well?
Yeah, I was working for a care company as a carer, and then they asked me to be a trainer, so I was training other carers. And then obviously COVID happened. So that was 2020. Schools were closed. Ollie was obviously sent home, and I was basically sacked. Yeah. I was on a 0 hours contract, And they were like, yeah, you know, so I didn't get any help. It was like, see you later. Yeah, and that was it. So I wanted to do something that I could do around Ollie's school. You know, I didn't know how long COVID was going to last for. And I needed to be there for Ollie. So I was trying to find something from home. And I've always worked in like admin roles and, you know, receptionist, admin roles, hospital kind of roles. And yeah, it was actually my son. He was doing flips on eBay, and he'd bought some telephones. I think it was some office telephones, or he'd got them from Facebook, and he was trying to sell them on Amazon. And I was like, "What do you mean you're selling on Amazon? How can you sell on Amazon? Like, it's Amazon."
Yeah.
You know, like probably 90% of the people
That's
don't
the
realize.
exact same conversation I had with Matt. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he was like trying to sell these. Yeah, I didn't understand. So I went off and I was like, okay, let's find out what this is all about. Because I was thinking of doing flips. We'd started kind of like going around charity shops and buying stuff and selling paintings and stuff. And I really enjoyed that because I do love shopping.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up keeping a lot of the stuff. And I was a bit rubbish at that. So when he said about Amazon, I was like, okay, let's find out about this. And I actually found like a lot of people in the community through Matt Webley and his old Facebook group. So I joined that and I started, you know, down that tunnel and looking at all the different things. And it was just at the same time as he was doing the course on multiple streams of income, I think it was called, and about setting up Facebook groups.
Oh, yeah.
So it was the same time as that. So I was like looking into this thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then these two things kind of happened at the same time. It was that course, the free course for a week, and it was selling on Amazon. So I set up my Facebook group, hadn't even got my Amazon working yet. It was like I'd registered, but nothing had gone through. I set up my Amazon group and I was like, right, I'll do videos and I'll set up this group and follow my journey and la la la. And then I realized that I didn't really like being on video, as you may have gathered. I've been hiding for quite a while. You know, I love helping people in the community. I really do. But actually sitting on a video, I think it's just when you press record. Yeah. So we've chatted on video loads of times, it's fine. And I've talked to other sellers, you know, on calls, and it's fine. It's just as soon as you press record, I don't know what it is. Anyway, so I set up my Facebook group, started on Amazon doing OA, and I don't know if it's because I'm an only child or what, but I didn't really like sharing the listings. I didn't like the tanking. It was just a bit, I don't know. I was like, yeah, I want to do my own listings. So I joined ESA in, I think it was January 2021.
Oh, God, it feels like a lifetime ago.
I know, and started doing bundles. And that kind of led me down the route of creating my own images, creating my own listings. And I love that bit. And what I found was I was really good at doing the images. And I was quite good at doing the listings. I liked writing the listings, but kind of getting all of the other bits together and getting the listings up tended to kind of fall on the wayside. So I quickly kind of figured out that what I liked doing the most, and I don't know if it's because I've got ADHD, but I'd have like 100 tabs open. And the one thing that would keep me on the tab was Canva and creating images and design. And I could do that for hours and not get distracted. And everything else was okay, but it just kind of, it just kind of
funny though. Isn't that funny that something, especially with the ADHD and the diagnosis and everything like that you find something that it kind of breaks the mold of the diagnosis when you love it.
Yeah.
You know, and is that part of it? I mean, I must know I'm very naive when it comes to that. Is it something you have to be interested in? Because when I coach people, when I work with people, when I talk about it, and I've always been a believer of personally, but this is my own experience of it, that I don't need to enjoy something to motivate me. The end task of it is enough. And also I can separate a little bit with I don't need to be happy what I'm doing 100% of the time. I can separate my own happiness and my own enjoyment of a task because I know it has to be done. There's whereas no names, I'm not going to point any names, but someone I work closely with, who I also live with as well, that person, is very much someone who has to enjoy the majority of the tasks that they do to get the best out of it. So I'm just wondering if that is a specific.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is a trait. Yeah, I think it is a trait. And what I've realized recently is I need some systems in place, and I love systems.
Oh, damn, that person might be or may not be watching. Oh no.
I love systems, but I'm not very good at them. But I've recently just set up a bundle journey, which I've got like different columns showing who's doing what tasks. So I've got my different VAs doing the different tasks, and I have to do certain things to kind of move on to the next level. So I think I'm a very visual person. So having that there has really actually helped. Launching.
That definitely links in with the creative side. So this is one thing I wanted to ask. I wanted to actually go back and pick up on something because I don't know the answer to this. And I think I've asked this for a few different people. And by the way, I want everyone that's watching, if you've got thoughts on this, let me know. Because I don't think I've ever had a definitive answer, nor do I think there is a definitive answer on this. So as we all know, through life, we all talk to people about what we do. Some people more than others because some people are more interested. Meaning I've got to a point now where I'm very nondescript, believe it or not. If somebody asks me what I do for a living, I just say I sell on Amazon. That's it. I don't really go into much detail because I do find the majority of people are not interested. The majority of people are only, and this is not, I'm not being mean or anything like that. It's human nature. The majority of people are interested in themselves. That's what it is. And I don't think that's, a negative way of saying it. I just mean most people like talking about themselves. It's natural. But what's really interesting, I'd love to know what causes some people, whether it's endorphin, whether it's brain curiosity, entrepreneurial spirit, I don't know. What causes someone that says, like when Charlie said to you, sell on Amazon, you listen to it, you take it in, you not only take it in, but something triggers maybe in the brain, then you go and find out about it, and then you take the next step from there. Whereas 99 times out of 10, he's probably said that, and I know I certainly have to another amount of people, 99 times out of 10, sorry. Let's face it.
Yeah, that number. Let's do maths.
This isn't Natalie's math session, by the way. 99 times out of 100 or 9 times out of 10, the average person will turn around and say, oh, okay, that's cool, and move on. I'd love to know what that trigger is. Have you got any thoughts on that?
I think it's curiosity. I think it's being nosy. For me, I think it's kind of being nosy and wanting to know the answer. And I know my mum's quite like that as well.
I'm proper nosy as well.
Yeah. So I think it's that kind of curiosity and just needing to know things. And then, just taking action, I guess.
Okay. Anyone else got any thoughts on that? Let us know in the comments, because that's always fascinated me, why you could have 10 people in the room and there would be, I know it's humans, obviously, and different perspective and maybe a level of understanding, but I always want to know, what is that? Is it upbringing? Is it gene? Is it curiosity? Is it something in you? I do childhood. I don't know what it is. Claire says, I think you're either an entrepreneur or you aren't. I think you're born that way. Yeah, I agree. I think you've either got the entrepreneurial spirit or you haven't. I do believe that. And I think I didn't know if it was, I've always known that to be the case, and I completely agree with that. But I didn't know if there was something more. Maybe that's just it. Maybe it's just that. I'm being a bit nosy,
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't an entrepreneur, should we say, until quite late. I only started in 2020. Before that, I always had jobs. But I suppose I've always been interested in trying other things, and kind of if anyone wanted to buy anything in my family, they would always message me and say, can you find the best deal for this? And I'd always get the best deal for them. So I've always had that kind of
They do. They definitely do make those. So that's interesting. You said that you obviously entrepreneur a bit later. I don't think there is any set age to be an entrepreneur. I think we live in a world now where, like, the world of social media and TikTok and things like that tells you that and we see a lot of young people starting business earlier than, you know, we didn't. You know, we had our own businesses from 18. So we were always the exception, whereas it's more common now because you know, things are more accessible. But just because somebody starts a business at a certain age doesn't mean they're an entrepreneur. So I think, you know, when it hits you, it hits you. Let's face it, Colonel Sanders, you know, we all know that story. He didn't start his business, his finger looking good business until his late 60s. So, you know, it hits when it hits. I think he started the business with his pension check. So he started that business with his pension check. Yeah. Do you know what? We've got a lot of common themes here. Mark says, I think you're born with it. I agree. I think you're right. Hi, Chev. Chev's joined us. One of my few lives. Granted, I'm 15 minutes late. It's okay. We forgive you. We're not going to send you away. We were late, or I was late anyway, so it's fine. We've got a comment on YouTube. Oh, sorry, Ben. I'll come back to your question in a sec. Sorry, because one of the things that I wanted to ask actually was this your first business, or had you tried businesses before that?
No, nothing. I mean, I'd sold a little bit of my own stuff on eBay.
Yeah.
Like most people do, but no, this is my first business.
So what appealed to you then? What, because you said you'd always been interested. So what was it about the Amazon business? Now, don't get me wrong. I want to give a lot of credit to Matt Webley here, because I do believe Matt Webley is one of the most responsible people in the UK that is responsible for thousands of people starting Amazon businesses. And I believe that Matt is one of the best communicators in terms of being able to communicate opportunity to people. And I think without Matt, I think a lot of people wouldn't have started this business. And I think he deserves a huge amount of credit that he doesn't really get for that, to be perfectly honest. So do you think it was Matt, or do you think it was, you know, the opportunity itself, or a bit of both?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of both. I mean, he managed to get me to spend a couple of grand on my credit card within a couple of weeks of knowing him. He's a very good salesman. But I
think he's authentic, you know, and I think that authenticity shines through.
Absolutely. He was very real about everything. And
well, actually, I know he's authentic. I don't think he's I know he's authentic.
Yeah, I think it was just wanting to work from home and be there, you know, for the kids that's been at school and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I've always wanted my own business, but I just never thought there was kind of anything that I could do. So it was just an eye opener of, you can actually do this.
Okay, excellent. So let's move on to, you know, discovering it. And you quickly moved out of arbitrage, like you skim the surface of arbitrage. And I remember that around the time. And I'm always really, especially with people that joined ESA at the time, I'm always very conscious about people that said, do you know what? I've launched a bundle. I love it. I'm going to quit everything else and I'm going to focus on it. But you were determined. And I was like, yeah, Cindy, maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe carry on a little bit with the arbitrage, you know, just to kind of do a bit of a transition. So, and you're like, no, I'm going to burn my boats. I'm going to burn my bridges. I'm going to set everything on fire. And I am selling my soul to bundles. So
I know. I wish in a way, I wish I'd carried on with the OA, because it was a great way to learn what sells. You know, I came in and I didn't have that kind of products Bible that Luke had, you know, the Bible that everyone can use. So when I'm talking to other people about, you know, creating bundles, I always say to them, oh, you're an OA seller, see what you've sold before. So I've never been able to do that, which I think is kind of a lost opportunity, to be honest. Maybe I should have listened to you. But but yeah,
not always right. You got to go with the gut.
I just wanted to have my own listings and create my own listings, and I just didn't want to share. But yeah, I forgot what the question was, to be honest.
No, you know, when you fully committed, and this is FBA Ben has joined us on YouTube. Welcome, Ben. he's asked, where did you get or where do you get your inspiration from bundles? So that's a really good, sort of point to be able to bring it in now and talk about that, because like I said, bundles is something, you can approach it from lots of different angles, but you've already said you didn't have it from the OA approach. And so where do you get your inspiration from bundles?
I've kind of gone quite niche. So I've gone down one kind of category and basically stuck to that. So I started with one, it sold quite well, and then I've just kind of stayed in that niche and kind of carried on, down that, just sticking to that kind of category. But what I have done recently, I'm in quite a gifty category, but what I've done now is I've used the products in my bundles to make some more kind of basic bundles and to make some more kind of essential bundles, because so they're more kind of like OA listings, like basic bundles, because even if I get a really small profit on those, I'm able to then buy in bulk from my suppliers, and now I can get a pallet of the same product and use half of it for my bundles and half of it for my kind of basic bundles. So that's kind of like a new strategy that I've just started doing.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about that in the Hive, where we've talked about maximizing the opportunity that you have in front of you, because not everybody has, very little people, have endless pots of cash, endless amount of time to be able to explore opportunities. And there's been several times throughout the years on bundled training and bundled lives that we demonstrate, the riches really can be in the niches, for all the Americans that are watches, let's correct it to niches, but they really can be. And if you can focus in and laser, and again, I was talking to Phil earlier about this as well. We were talking about a niche area. Was it worth it? Was it worth going into this niche area? And I know Phil won't mind me saying this. I'm not going to say what it was or anything like that. Weighing up the time versus money versus effort argument, there is always going to be that element. But if you are in a niche category, then you have to look out where you can expand it, because you can dominate it. So I think it's fair to say, obviously the niche area that you're in, you also dominate as well. So it's a smaller area, but you have the biggest part of the pie, and you've established a foothold in that area. So it's kind of hard not impossible for someone to come and knock you off your perch, but when you dominate an area, it's harder to impact a niche area. So it's a very strong strategy.
And we're quite branded. Our products are quite branded, and I think that's really helped us, getting the whole picture. So it's, we've got our A+ and we've got our brand story, and all of our packaging and everything that goes into it is very branded. And I guess that's because that's the one thing that I really love to do. So that's where we've gone.
I think you are a true reflection of what you love. I think that's very clear in your creative works. I think it is, absolutely. You project what you enjoy and what you do, and you have high levels of success. So as a entrepreneur, how do you harness that? And I think that probably leads us on to maybe talking about expanding on, you are clearly someone that is motivated by doing something that you love. So when it came to a point, obviously, where you were building your Amazon business, which you are still a very successful Amazon seller, what was that point where you say, because again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but obviously you've kind of maxed out the niche that you're in, and you have to make a decision. Do I go and do the same again, or do I look for something else? So, and obviously, depending on which direction you go, where did that start for you from there?
Yeah, I think it started from when I got deactivated in the first, I think I was in 2 months in, or about 2 or 3 months in, I can't really remember. But I got the old, the red banner on my Amazon account.
Always fun.
Because I think it was to do with having a professional account, but I hadn't got my UTR.
Yes. No, weren't you under yes, you were under, I remember this because I know Karen sorted it out for you, didn't she? So I think you were under no, wasn't it the other way round? you were under a professional account, but yes, you had, I think
I'd not got my HMRC, whatever it was.
Yes, you weren't a registered business. That was it, wasn't it?
Wasn't a registered business because I hadn't actually reached the, £1,000 threshold. So in my eyes, I was like, well, I don't need to do that. These are the British rules, blah, blah, blah. Which was like, well, that's tough. That's not, that's not how it is. Amazon want you to be a real business. So you have to be a sole trader, or you have to be a limited company. Karen, what's the company called? Get Unsuspended. Yeah. So because I was with Buybot Pro, and they helped me out and got me out of that and helped me write the letters, because I probably would have written a letter saying, but I haven't done anything wrong. These are the rules.
And that goes down so well with Amazon. Yeah. Sorry, if you're listening on any type of audio, there was a lot of sarcasm with that, if you didn't pick it up.
It's not wrong what I'm saying, but that's not what they want to hear. Absolutely. They want to hear, I messed up, I'm really sorry, I won't ever do it again, kind of thing. So it was
third-born child as compensation for all my wrongdoings.
Exactly. So they helped me get out of that. I think that was probably the second or third problem that they've helped me with in the past. Another one where it was they just wanted to send some proof that I was selling, legitimate things, and so they really did help me. But having that made me realize that I need to have multiple streams of income. It's all very well relying on Amazon, but you can't. At the end of the day, it's brilliant, but you can't put all your eggs in one basket. So I've always wanted to do something else, and I've got a Shopify store and I've got an Etsy store. But the thing that I like to do the most is create images. So it kind of made sense for me to do that. And after I took your masterclass, your monetizing, it's a bit of a long-winded title. I can't remember what it's called.
Not like me. So monetizing Amazon experience for your best life, whatever, something like that.
Yeah, I took that course, and it really made me realize, I can actually do this. I think I'm not a very good saleswoman, so doing the whole pitching to people and I can do this for you.
People don't want to be sold to.
Yeah, and I'm just not. I'm not a saleswoman, so I think the thing that I found the hardest was kind of like creating a price list, and people say, can you do this? And I'm like, it's this much, but if you can't do that, I can give you a discount, and if you want more, I can give you a discount. So that I struggled with that a lot, but doing the course helped.
Yeah, and but I think that's quite natural. Jimmy says on Facebook, wish I could watch live, but I can't. The 9 to 5 takes priority, so catch it later. We'll see you then. We'll see you on the replay, Jimmy. Don't worry. Mariana's joined us, Noreen as well. So jumping in. Ramona. Chris says I do the same thing, by the way. 1 ASIN I sell is also split into another 4 individual ASIN. So 1 product equals 5 ASIN. So good strategy there. Really good validation of that. And I know a number of people that are in the hive, certainly do that. You've got to maximize those efforts as much as you possibly can. Adele says solidarity, Cindy, totally not a salesperson, but I actually think when you're not a salesperson, that actually makes the sale. For a lot of people, there are a very small amount of people that, well, no one wants to be sold to, obviously, and I am a firm believer in you can't persuade someone to buy something that they absolutely do not want to buy unless there's a certain level of manipulation that is involved, or dark tactics, essentially. So if someone's going to buy, you may as well kind of just ask, and if they say no, the key is not to take it personally. That's not you. And it's just a case of they're not ready for it. But since then, so that, would you say, since becoming your own business person, what's been more challenging, building your listings side of the business, which, by the way, obviously we're going to do a shameless plug at the end. So if anybody is in a position where they want Cindy to write their Amazon listings, create A+ content and standard listing content, feel free to get in contact with Cindy, because this is something you offer as a service now very successfully. So I actually work with some of Cindy's clients who Cindy has created listings for, and they are top-notch guys, just to let you know. Just putting it out there. They absolutely are. They respond incredibly well to paid advertising, which is the key. We talk about listings a lot in the Hive, and I don't think a lot of people realize that what a listing actually is, in all of its components, in all of its attributes, with images, copy, your research, your product, it all makes up this one big communicator. And it has to communicate in two parts. It has to communicate to the customer, but it also has to communicate to the Amazon algorithm as well. And if you don't get one of those right, you have to get both of them right. If you don't get the communicator to the Amazon customer right, then they're not going to buy. If you don't get the communicator to Amazon right, the customer's not going to see it.
Yeah,
so
no, absolutely. Right. Text is 100% for the bots, and the images are for the customers. And actually, since I've given my PPC to Hayden and you to do, it's actually really allowed me to focus
here, isn't it?
It's really allowed me to focus on just the bits that I kind of enjoy. So I think that was a part of it, is outsourcing the bits that you don't like doing. So I don't do my prep anymore, or should I say Andrew doesn't do my prep anymore, and I don't do any PPC anymore. So we literally do the research, this SEO, create the listing and the images, and then we kind of let it go. And that's always what I've kind of liked to do, is launch products, is kind of create it, launch it, and then I get a bit bored and I don't really want to go back and look at it, or or work on the PPC. I found that a bit tedious, to be honest.
I definitely think that's very atypical of creative personality. So question I want to ask is, did you always know you were a creative, or was it a surprise to you?
No, I think it was a bit of a surprise, because like I said, my previous jobs have all kind of been admin roles, or I was a medical secretary, so they were all kind of, I guess, roles that had kind of strict guidelines of what I was doing. And then I was the trainer, but again, it was all kind of like, this is what you're doing, do this. And so, it wasn't until I started creating the listings that I realized that I really enjoyed it.
So talk us through the creative process of, say, for instance, somebody says to you, Cindy, I need you to create me a listing, and I need you to do the 7 images. I need you to 7 images, 9 images. I need you to do the copy. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. What do you start with? I mean, you start with the product and work your way out.
It really depends on how much research they've done. So whether they've done everything and they just want the listings done, the images done, and they've already done the research and they've got their keywords, or if they if they're coming to me kind of like, I want to build this brand and I'm not sure which direction to take it. So I do like to keep them involved with everything, but sometimes people just don't know what they want. So they're like, so what I like to do is give them kind of 2 choices. So if it's like a whole kind of rebranding, or a whole kind of brand they're building, I'll get what they like, what they don't like. But then at the end of the day, I'll kind of put that into maybe 2 different options and say, would you like option A or option B? And a lot of people don't understand why you write a listing a certain way. So a client that I've got who is like on a monthly retainer, when I first started writing listings for him, he was a bit like, why are you writing that? That doesn't make any sense. So I kind of had to talk him through how it works. And so I kind of showed him, this is why we're using these keywords. And yes, it does sound a bit weird in places. But actually the description, then they're not going to see, because that's going to be behind the A+ content. But people want different things. I like, they need to be involved in the process, but some people want everything done for them. Other people, they know what they want, and it's like, just make this.
I think you've highlighted something really crucial there for me. Not that there's a right or a wrong way. There are definitely people that just want to hand it over and say, sort that out, and never want to understand the process of anything. I say there's not a right and a wrong way. I do believe that you do need a good understanding of why something is what it is. And I think sometimes what some service providers do wrong, in my opinion, is they gatekeep everything and they won't
Yeah.
tell you why, because they're worried if they tell you that you want to go and do it yourself, or you want to do this, or you want to understand that, do that. But I think the key to running successful services, where somebody is paying you to deliver a product, I
Yeah.
feel that that communication and that almost education that comes along with why you do what you do. And look, I'm the expert here. I remember I spoke about that in the monetizing course, is you have to make a stance and you say, look, I'm happy to take on board your ideas. I'm the expert, you're not. With the
Yeah.
greatest of respect, I'm happily walk you through everything I'm doing and why I'm doing it, but you
Yeah.
have to trust the process a little bit. Otherwise, that's when you get communication issues with clients and things like that.
Yeah, I think one of the ways we're different is that we will actually give them a template. We'll give them the designs. You know, I'll happily give someone the template with Canva, with the links and everything, so that they can then go on and use those designs to make their own images. You know, I'm not here saying, you know, you can only have this and I'll change every little thing for you. No, I'll happily, once, you know, all the designs are created, I'll happily give them the template, and then they can go on and they can, you know, if it's a similar product, they can use those images to make others.
But I think I believe in the good in people, and I believe in the human side of things. And I think if you do that, I think it's you know, you're more inclined to get repeat service because you're
Yeah, I
trusting.
do. They still
You know,
come. Yeah, they still come back and say, "Can you do this?" And I'm like, "You
yeah.
can do it," and they're like, "No, I can't."
Yeah, absolutely. Ravi on YouTube has just said it's difficult to trust. I get it. Everybody's normally selling something. They're selling coaching. Rest assured, we're not going to be selling any coaching here because I haven't got any spaces. So it's not
I
going to
mean,
be any coaches.
one issue is that I don't have a portfolio because I don't
Yeah.
share my clients' work. So
Yeah, of
I
course.
keep meaning to make a kind of a fake portfolio for people to look at. But yeah, I mean, most of the work I get is through referrals. You know, people recommend if they had me do some work before, or you
Yeah.
send me a lot of people as well.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's about trust, and you always want to make sure that somebody, you know, has a you know, good experience. There are a lot of sharks out there. There's no doubt about it. We do tend to be, especially if you're in the Hive community, we are a bit incestuous. We do recommend, you know, because we've built a certain level of trust. I've always said
Yeah,
that, you know, when you're around the, you know, this when Larry Lubarsky came on, and he said, you know, he's known of us for a long time, and he said you don't get to be in this industry for as long as like him, me, you, and everyone is that in without there being, you know, bad stuff kind of thing.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
charlatans get found out pretty quickly, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, you pick up a few haters along the way, of course you do. We all know that, but at the end of the day, the majority of it is good, and trust is something that's passed around between
yeah,
people that, you know, you're going to share that, you know, like attracts like. That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
We've got a load of Cindy fans in the house. So Adele says, or how many bundles would you roughly say you need to outsource for PPC? Probably have a chat with Hayden or myself on that, Adele. It's not really like a set amount, to be perfectly honest. It's we'd kind of need to probably have a look at it. But you know, and again, like Cindy has said, you know, we would never ever take on anybody who there's no sales process. That's what I'm saying. There's been a couple of times that we've said you're not ready to people, and they're like, we don't care, we want to do it anyway. So yeah, we'll always go through that. Chris says he really just needs to stop being tight and just get you to do his listings, but I'll leave that to you guys to sort out. Claire has said Cindy has done my listings, one of my listings, and images for 3 of my bundles. Her work is excellent. So what a resounding testimonial there. And yeah, Chris said you should always have an underpinning knowledge of everything you do. I believe that's the best way. But I do know people that very successfully have outsourced this business in some capacity that literally haven't learned it, and they just gone ahead and done it. I was the perfect example of that. I was in a joint venture with somebody who created products. This is when we first started selling in the US, that had no interest in learning Amazon, was not interested in learning Amazon in any way, shape, or form. They wanted to focus on what they did well, which was creating products, innovative products for the market. And they left it up to us, but they had to pay a premium for it, because if they do not have any knowledge, it's more of a partnership more than anything else, as opposed to a service. And that's why we went down the route. So again, that's something else I talk about in that course. There are different ways that you can monetize your knowledge on Amazon. And that's another example of that. Joint ventures with people, going to businesses that have no inclination of wanting to sell on Amazon, or sorry, they want to sell, but they've got no inclination of wanting to learn. And I think that's the thing. Be open, guys. I had a conversation with a girl that I was out at the weekend socializing, and she had a very closed mind, and she was saying some sort of stuff that was quite closed, and it was very negative. And I wouldn't normally mention something, and this is a similar sort of thing, kind of open that possibility that someone is kind of good, or someone is not out for everything. You do have to open yourself that possibility of that. And that's the same of working with people. Just because you show them something, just because you show them how to do something, it doesn't mean they want to do it themselves. It really does. And I actually find the majority is the opposite. I think most people don't want to do it themselves.
I had a kind of a private label product, a brand who wanted to sell on Amazon. They tried before, they'd had no luck doing it, and I tried to get them to come into the Hive, because I knew it would be quite expensive for them. They were just starting out, and it was going to be expensive for them, to do everything for them, all their listings, their images. They had quite a few products, so I tried to get them to come into the Hive. I think they joined for like about a month, and I was like, you can do it yourself. This is how you'll do it. I'll make the first ones for you, and you can carry on. But they were like, we just don't have the time. We don't want to do it, which is similar to my other client who's on a monthly retainer, he just doesn't want to do the listings. He hasn't got time to do that. He just wants to outsource it, and that's it.
I've always said you're kind of living my best life, because I've always said if I stopped everything else, the one thing I would do, and I think you and I are quite similar anyway as well, is I would do the listings and I would do the images, because that's what I personally also enjoy. But there is also an understanding, and I don't want people to confuse this. Creating listings and images that hit the mark on Amazon is no mean feat. It is not easy, especially in a world of saturation and millions of products that are served on the Amazon platform. You have to get the balance right, and that really does come from a deep understanding what the customer wants and what Amazon wants as well. So from this, I don't want people to go and think, oh, I'm going to start a listings thing, or I'm going to do this. You have to have that level of knowledge to be able to monetize it. But yours has obviously come from enjoyment that has driven you to be able to build something as a result of that, which I think is great as well. It's a win-win, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start off like this. Obviously, I've made a whole load of mistakes. I've made terrible bundles in the past. The first ones I made were awful, and I look back at the images, I'm just, they're rubbish. But it comes from practice and working out what works and what doesn't. And
sometimes you just can't get something to look good. I mean, I did it in the end, but I did in the Hive we have these little breakout workshops occasionally, where I did one recently. Well, I say recently, it's probably about 3 months ago now, where I was talking about creating a listing, and we focused on that. And I created a listing based on this bundle that I discovered. And I don't know if you remember, I just could not get the main image to work.
Is it the ice?
Yeah, it's that one. Yeah, I just couldn't make it look attractive. I couldn't make it look buyable. So sometimes you just can't, it's difficult. So even with all the knowledge and experience in the world, sometimes you just can't get something to work. I eventually did, but I kid you not, I spent hours on that, and it was not worth my time in doing it. It was like moving things slightly to the left and doing this and doing that. But it was, you know, there was a lot of moving parts in the bundle. So it's kind of hard to make that look as attractive as you would normally want it to. So
some things are just not pretty, are they? Some things are just, they're kind of functional, and that's how they have to look. And so it's not always about making them look pretty. It's, you know, sometimes it's about making the customer understand what they're looking at and what the value you're giving them, and getting them to stop the scroll, basically. You know, if they're looking through a whole load of things, it's for them to notice. The main image is for them to notice what it is.
And I think that was one of the key understandings of me. And that's when my listing creation kind of leveled up, essentially, was that understanding of understanding that everything on that listing is a communicator. And sometimes, there are different parts of communicate, you know, areas that have different purposes, and you have to hit the mark on those. You know, sometimes it's not about pretty, it's not about aesthetic, it's not about this, it's about demonstrating what that product does. Sometimes it's about the benefit of the product. Sometimes it's about the unique selling point of that product. Sometimes it's about its certification, you know, or something like that. So it's finding what that is and communicating it through that listing. So if anyone, you know, is not writing listings, and hopefully that will be a big tip for people, because it's not just about stuffing a load of random old search terms in there. You've got to get the balance right, otherwise it's not going to communicate, for sure.
And seeing what your competitors are doing, you know, seeing what's working for them and then improving it.
But also at the same time, knowing to differentiate between what is working for someone as a competitor and why it's working for that competitor as well. So if I am competing with a listing that has been around for 7 years and has 4,000 5-star reviews as well, and but it's a shit listing, you know, just not improving that listing is not going to make me, you know, compete with that competitor. It's about, you know, different levels of understanding. There's a lot that goes into this, guys. So you know, like I said, it's no real you know, it's no mean feat to understand this and be successful in it. So all credit to Cindy for doing this and building this level of business, which we know, and I know firsthand, you know, you are very successful in, and you're getting fantastic results for. So, you know, credit.
I have no idea how people actually create listings and sell on Amazon without having some kind of training, or without having some kind of, you know, the Hive, for instance, or ESA. I can't imagine how I would have got anywhere without that kind of up-to-date training.
Yeah, I think there's a level of perseverance. I mean, obviously in the Hive, it's all in one place, so that makes it a lot easier. Although there is such a wealth of information in there now that even we've got to a point where we're going to have to trim some of it down, replace some of the information, because some of it's gone out of date, you know, and that's what we're working on at the moment. But I think as long as you're determined, like you were, to find out about the business, as you did, you find a way.
But I mean, even down to like generic search terms, how would the average person know not to put a brand in there? Unless they like go searching through all of all of Amazon's terms and services and kind of find that, you know, it's just these little things that can get you into trouble if you don't know about them. But then where do you find that information unless you read through tons and tons of Amazon terms of service, which I know you love to do.
I know.
But most people,
I don't know how my life got that exciting. So 50% of my knowledge and experience comes from reading stuff, and I suppose a little bit like what you said earlier of not knowing something. I'm a bit of a dog with a bone. If I don't know something, I will go out of my way to find it. I will find the answer to it, you know, 100%. And I stand by everything that everyone needs to know is within the 5,468 chapters of Amazon Terms of Service, if you want to go ahead and read them. But as we've also demonstrated on a very recent live session as well, that they're very contradictory of, you know, one page will say do this, the next page will say do that. and that contradicts that. So what you have to do is you have to have the confidence, and that's when experience kicks in. And that's when we will test the listing doing that on that page, seeing if that works, and then that one on that one, and then seeing what works, and then testing it. And, you know, and as you know, we use the Hive as that kind of hive mind to be able to solve problems. You know, that's what it's always been designed to do, to be able to do that. And there are some really tricky problems that we would not have been able to solve on our own, that we have now given back to the benefit of the community for. And what's really interesting is people are pretty good with the information in the Hive. It tends to stay in there. And I was watching a TikTok the other day, and, you know, a very, what I suppose would be perceived as someone who knew what they were talking about, thousands of followers, spoke about something to do with unique bundles, and they said it completely wrong. And that was something we'd actually, and that wasn't a criticism, by the way, because I wouldn't expect somebody on their own to know this. This was what they were talking about in particular, was actually something we discovered through our Hive community. We discovered it as a community, we worked it out, and we fixed it. So, you know, this person was saying it couldn't be done. We know it can be, because, you know, it's done. So it, you know, that's the beauty of that community, you know, essentially. So we all work together. So Ravi has said, is the switch from RARO to bundles difficult? What sort of starter budget is required? Well, you can start with anything, really. You know, the beauty of unique bundles and the system that I certainly created X amount of years ago. Do you know what I looked recently, actually, at how long ago I did my first unique bundle course? Because again, it does make me laugh. You see a few people coming up and saying, oh, this brand new strategy. I've kind of been, you know, teaching that for 7 years now. And I looked it up, it's 7 years I've been teaching. Wow. My first unique bundle course was released in 2018. So that's 6 years. Sorry, 6 years.
Wow.
2018 was my first unique bundle course that I released. And when I created the unique bundle system as it stands at the moment, so one of the things I wanted to be able to do, Ravi, was allow people to start with limited budgets, because when I created the unique bundle system, it was because I was too scaredy pants to go into private label at the time, which, you know, I'm just not a risk adverse person. I'm not a risky person. I'm actually quite risk averse. So we developed this system that allowed us to be able to start on limited budgets and be able to test the market and see what works and see what doesn't. So I will stand by, you know, if you want to join something like the Hive, it's going to cost you X amount to join, and £99 a month. So you will have to have that investment. If you want to do it seriously, then you will need something like Helium 10 or equivalent of. You can get away with it for a certain amount of time without using it. But if you want to be, there's a difference between starting it and being serious. But I will say, your first, you know, launch of unique bundles, you can go as little as 12, 24 units, something like that, which, you know, £100, something like that, just to test the market and see if it works for you. The actual products itself is the cheap part. It's everything else, you know, the learning, the software that you need. So, you know, those are the expensive parts of it. But of course, they become arbitrary the more bundles you release. So you kind of start out in a loss-making position, essentially. But the more you do it, the more you know, opportunity you will have to, you know, increase sales across the board, and also tick a lot of boxes and do what Amazon wants you to do. We talk a lot in the Hive, and have been doing so recently, about Amazon confidence in your account, and certainly doing something like unique bundles, which, if I strip everything away from it, is what Amazon wants. It's a truly, you know, it's a truly unique replenishable business. So at its core, it's a replenishable business, and that's exactly what Amazon wants. They want people to send products in, sell them, repeat the cycle, not chalk up the market, and service the Amazon community. So that's what bundles do, and why they do it so well. But you can start on just 12 units, so it doesn't cost a lot of money at all if you want to go down that route. Chris says, don't get me started about TikTok, bloody copycats. Do you know what? I always feel bad. It's because I'm addicted to TikTok. I do watch TikTok all the time. It sucks me in. It's like that. I think it's Scarface. You know, and said, just when I was out, it pulled me back in. That's
you've got to get on there.
I am going to start it. So I'm going to become a TikTok guru. So for all the haters out there, not that there's no haters watching this, but well, maybe there might be at some point. But yes, I am going to do it because they, you know, when they were at 3 minutes, that was never going to work for me. So going up to 10 minutes, I think I'll be okay. But I'm going to try, and I want to do it in a slightly different way. I want to talk about what we've talked about here today, these type of things on TikTok, that once you are an Amazon seller for a certain amount of time, the type of opportunities it can bring for you. So I'm not going to be, you know, rest assured, sort of in a prep center measuring boxes and telling you how to, you know, pack stuff in stuff like that. That's not the route I'm going to go down. It's going to be more of a business kind of mentor route as well. So that's definitely more the route I would like to go down. So, but yes, TikTok coming soon for sure. Jonathan said it's 60 minutes now for some of us. Yeah. Oh, is it really? Oh, I thought you were just saying I've been banging on for 60 minutes, but well, you might have been saying 60 minutes. That's quite a lot. Even I can feel that.
Be all right.
Yeah. I could fill a whole day, to be honest. It's as simple as that. Right. Any other questions for Cindy? So whilst we're doing that, one, we need a shameless plug. So if anybody does want to find your services, then we'll let them know where they can find you. But just before we do, what does the future hold? Will you see yourself focusing more on the service side of it and the selling on Amazon? You see yourself very much in the middle, or, you know, tell us what the future holds.
Yeah, I'm always going to be creating my own brands on Amazon. I'm always going to be doing my own listings. I think that's kind of the thing that I love doing the most. But I have just hired another graphic designer. So I now have 2 graphic designers, and my most current one that I've just hired is a real professional. He uses Illustrator.
Wow.
He doesn't use Canva. He uses Illustrator and Photoshop, and you know, he's an official graphic designer, unlike me, who are maybe a little bit of a fake graphic designer.
I think you're doing yourself a disservice. I don't think there's like an official like graphic designer qualification that makes you legit, though, is there? I don't think.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people say, you know, Canva's, you know, for the fake designers or whatever.
Yes, okay.
But I mean, for what you need on Amazon, it is perfectly fine. But now I also have an Illustrator.
But I do remember that someone that I taught to sell bundles then created their own course on how to sell bundles, knowing full well that I obviously taught people to sell using Canva, and then I even put in their presentation, or so I was told. I didn't personally see it. So yeah, apologies if you didn't and you're watching. But I was actually told that they put, don't use Canva, use Photoshop and this and that. And I thought, oh, right, okay, fine, fair enough. But yeah, no, I know exactly what it is. Nothing wrong with using Canva at all. Yeah. I use Canva in every part of my life, you know, even to the point of if I was just going to like send a picture of someone to someone, it would just go into Canva and it will come out the other end.
Perfectly edited. Yeah, no. So the future is carry on with my own brand. I think we are going to possibly start selling in the USA as well. And then also the services bit. I mean, now I've got 2 graphic designers and myself. That's going to be a lot easier to grow. And now I don't have to do my own PPC, and I've outsourced that. I have plenty of time, you know, to focus on the design. So, yeah.
Definitely enough to keep you out of trouble, for sure.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Yeah, Jonathan says it's TikTok. Oh yeah, Adele says you can upload whatever length you want. Why are you people encouraging me? I will literally, it will be like War and Peace putting it up there. I'm just going to stick to the 10 minutes. I'm just well, no, not even that. I'm going to try and change my whole and try and get to the point a lot quicker, as badly demonstrated right now. So, Cindy, if anybody wants to get in contact, you've got your own group anyway as well, which is Mrs. Prime. But if anyone does want to get in contact, they're thinking about outsourcing this, how can they best contact you if they want beautiful listings created?
You can find me at mrsprime.com. You can email me at cindy@mrsprime.com. You can go to my Facebook group, Mrs. Prime. You can find me on TikTok, Mrs. Prime.
Okay, excellent.
You know what?
Yeah, I've realised that you're not here to put your own links in. Normally you do that for us. We didn't think about that someone else could have put those links in. I know, and I daren't touch anything because it will literally just implode if I touch anything. But yeah, I literally, normally I say, Cindy, would you mind finding the link and putting it? We will get the link on here and we'll post it in the group for sure. So, if you want there. Arby says, hi, Cindy. Woohoo. Lots of love and lots of flowers. And Rosie, sorry, I meant to say as well. Rosie said earlier, she left a lovely comment. Can't believe she's late. Again, we'll let you off. Cindy is a legend, unsung hero. Absolutely. It's why I wanted to get her on here, because there's so much love for Cindy. You do so much for the community, for the Hive, for everyone here at Beyond the Buy Box. So I really want to thank you for that as well. And like I said, you are an integral part of the Amazon community and you help so many people. So thank you. Never change. We love that. And, there's absolutely so much love here for you. And again, just Rosie says, what services do you offer other than graphic design or listings? Any back-end management, admin side of it, or it's just the creator? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, keyword research. I do have a price list on mrsprime.com and it's got all the different services that we offer. But yeah, it's listing creation, keyword research, images, A+.
Cool.
A lot.
Excellent. Always worth a message, right?
Yeah, of course.
For sure. Right. Thank you, Cindy. Really appreciate it. I know it's been a time and I know this has really pushed you out your comfort zone. So I hope this will also be a lesson to anyone else as well. If you're thinking of coming beyond the buy box and you want to, and like I said, you don't have to have anything to sell. Cindy obviously didn't come on here to sell anything anyway. But if you just want to talk about stuff, if you want to push yourself out of comfort zone, drop me a message. There's always open-ins to come on. We will have I've got another guest next week. We've got Antel, who is going to be coming on and talking about those pesty deactivations. So that's going to be a really great session as well. So Antel specializes in a lot of Section 3 issues and things like that. He's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to talking about all the nasty. We've had a lovely light and fluffy session today, and next week we're gonna hit it hard with the doom and gloom. So don't ever say we don't keep you real, guys. That's it. But lots of love for Cindy. We really, really appreciate it. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you next week at 1 o'clock. Cindy, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you on here. So take care, everyone. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.